Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This time I'm going to show you the location of all 15 Skyview towers, as well as the method with which you need to enter some of them. Many of the Skyview towers' entrances are locked or blocked or malfunctioning, so you need to complete either a little side quest or just find a creative way to enter the tower and get it active. The first one that we're going to do is in Lookout Landing. This one is part of the story. You kind of can't miss this one. Very early on in the game, you're going to go to Hyrule Castle, come back to Lookout Landing, speak with Pura, and then you're going to be able to activate your first Skyview tower, and then kind of start this big quest off. So when you enter a Skyview tower, you're going to get launched into the air, and then after a really cool cutscene, your first map fragment is going to be revealed, and then it also reveals the corresponding sky map as well. Next up, we have the Hyrule Field Skyview Tower. This one requires you to do a fair bit of combat, although you can just run past everything. But just underneath this tower, you're going to find a Moblin lookout post that is attached to the cliff that the tower is on. So you can just run past everything, but there is a very important thing to note, and that is that the entrance is guarded by spiked balls, and as soon as you start walking up the pathway towards them, what's going to happen is the Moblins are going to release the balls, but then what you can do is you can use the recall function of your hand, send them back towards the Moblins, and then just run past them. I do recommend defeating all the enemies here. You get some great early game weapons here, a lot of really good resources, and of course the tower, but if you're not interested, just run to the door, open it, and activate the tower. Next up is Lindor's Brow Skyview Tower. This is in the northwest section of Hyrule, just before you get to Hebra Mountains. This one is on an island, so you need to take the building supplies that are nearby from the Hudson Building Supply shed, and you want to build yourself a nice bridge. Now what I will tell you is if you have the auto build ability, you should make use of this bridge function a lot. Bridges are very, very helpful in this game, so try to keep this one stored in your memory. You want to build a bridge all the way across the little pond, and then you want to climb up the rocks. You can do this all on one stamina wheel. If you are close to the end of the wall and you're about to make it, but you're going to run out of stamina, hold up on the joystick and press X to do a leap. And even if you have one tiny sliver of stamina left, you will perform a full jump. So it's a nice sort of desperation attempt to make it to the top, and it's always worth doing even if you only have a little sliver left. Next up is the Rospro Pass Skyview Tower. This one is in the Hebra Mountain Range, just north of Rito Village. This one is pretty easy to enter. Of course, you just need something to withstand the cold, either a piece of armor or, some hot peppers, just something. And then you have to burn away these brambles, but that's easy enough. You can just throw a fire fruit at them and they'll start burning away. It is a chain reaction, so you don't have to throw more than one, at least provided that they're all clumped together, you should be okay. Once they all burn away, you can just ride an updraft and get in, or you could wait for them all to burn. It's up to you, but you just want to open the door and activate the tower, and you never have to worry about the brambles again. Next up is the Pikida Stonegrove Skyview Tower. This one is also in Hebra in the North Tabantha Snowfields region, and the Pikida Stonegrove as it gets its name from. I recommend waiting to do this one until after you have finished the main story quest in Rito Village, the regional phenomena main quest. After you do that, you'll have access to a shrine in the Sky Archipelago that is pretty much directly above this. It doesn't take very long to get to after that. You can just drop right onto it. So wait until after that. It's just your easiest way to reach this tower. Next up, we have the Thyphlo Ruins Skyview Tower. This is due north in the Thyphlo Ruins. This is sort of near the Lost Woods area. To access this tower, we need to move a floating Zonai platform that is blocking the hatch on the top of the Skyview Tower. So we're going to climb up this ruined wall, and then we're going to turn around, and we are just going to glide over to this floating Zonai platform. This platform has rockets on it, so what you want to do is take out your Ultra Hand and then attach the rockets to the sides of the platform. just like this. You want them facing up. This way they shoot this platform into the sky, and then we're just going to float onto the platform that is blocking the hatch, and we're going to move it very carefully. I think you're intended to go to a bunch of different platforms for this, but this was way easier. So once it goes all the way up, you want to just glide down. You can land on this one, no problem. What you want to do is you want to carefully jump onto the corner right here. You want to be very careful because that construct right there on that platform can make rocket arrows and very easily shoot you off. Luckily, however, when you move the platform into position or away from the hatch, the cutscene automatically triggers, which should buy you a little bit of time. But you can see there, the rocket did hit me. Luckily, it didn't do too much damage. I think it actually just clipped the terrain, and I just took splash damage. I don't think I would have died from the rocket, but it can be pretty deadly. Luckily, though, you'll get credit for moving the platform, even if you were to get knocked off. Once you're done, you want to speak with Bilson inside the tower. He will marvel that the tower seems to have fixed itself, and then you can activate it and get your map fragment. Next up is the Eldin Canyon Skyview Tower. This one is northeast of central Hyrule. When you are up in this general vicinity near the tower, you will notice that blocks are falling out of the sky with green trails behind them. In case you haven't encountered these yet and this is your first time, these particular blocks can be rewound back into the sky. So you want to bring out your recall ability and then highlight the block and use rewind. After a second, the block will follow its own trail back up, and then you can leap off and glide into this Skyview Tower. Once inside, you want to use the terminal, which will in turn open the door. The repairman will thank you, and then you can use the tower again to get your map fragment. Next up is the Ulri Mountain Skyview Tower in Akkala, Highlands. This one is pretty easy to get to. You just walk right up to it, and it looks like the door is open and ready to go. However, this flying enemy over here stole the terminal. So if you speak with Saucon, he will tell you about that, and then all you have to do is kill that enemy. They always die in one arrow, so it's not terribly difficult, but they can fly around in erratic patterns, so you gotta try to get him while he's sitting still. And you'll notice the terminal is in his talons, ready to go. So you just want to kill the flying enemy and then bring the terminal back to the tower, and then you'll be able to use the tower to get your map fragment. Next, we have the Upland Zorana Skyview Tower, which is west of Zora's domain and east of central Hyrule, up on this hill. You want to take a splash fruit and chuck it at the muck here. Splash fruit grows on bushes all around this area. You should have plenty by the time you reach this spot. But all you need to do is throw one. You don't even need to rescue the Zora that's in front of the Skyview Tower. You may as well to be friendly, but he's not required for this. Next, we go to the Sahasra Slope Skyview Tower, and this one took me the longest to figure out because I had not yet gotten into my head that I need to use Ascend in caves. So there is a cave just underneath this tower that we can go into. It's this one right here. You need a lot of bombs to get through here, or a really durable rock hammer of sorts. When you are in this cave, you want to get rid of all the rocks that you can, and then you want to find a smaller little alcove that is in here, and that is directly underneath the Skyview Tower. So it's this little alcove right here. When you're in here, you want to use the Ascend ability, and then that will allow you to ascend back into the tower, and you will end up inside. Once you're inside, you will notice that there are 2 spears blocking the doors from opening. So you just want to take out those spears. You don't have to use them, and you can then open the door. If your inventory is full, you will need to drop at least 2 weapons to free up space. It doesn't matter, you can just pick them right back up. I recommend dropping them from the menu and not throwing them, because that decreases your durability. And at this stage of the game, if you're doing this pretty early like I was, as you can see, I only have 4 hearts. I did not want to sacrifice them, so I just dropped them from the menu. Once the doors are open, you can speak with the Rito gentleman outside, and he will open the terminal for you. Next up, we have the Mount Lanayru Skyview Tower, and luckily, the challenge for this one is to just get to it. It is at the very, very top of Mount Lanayru, but luckily, you don't need to do anything special to enter it. Just get to it, open the door, and activate it. That's it. Next, we have the Rabella Wetlands Skyview Tower, and this is in southeast Hyrule in the Rabella Wetlands near Mount Terran. This one's really interesting. It's raining 24/7 in this region. However, the tower entrance is blocked by brambles that need to be burned away. There are Hudson building supplies nearby that you can use to create a makeshift little shelter that you can then place over the brambles. Once you do that, you want to make a fire arrow using an arrow and a fire fruit or something else, and sort of thread the needle and shoot the brambles that are underneath the shelter that you created. If you're successful in doing that, the brambles will burn away. However, the wood can also burn. That shouldn't be a problem because the rain should put out the fire on the wood shelter, and the brambles should burn away no problem. So once you hear things start to disintegrate and burn away, you can remove your shelter and then enter the tower and activate it for your next map fragment. Next, we have the Popla Foothills Skyview Tower, and this one has a pretty interesting entry method. When you reach the tower, you will quickly notice that the terminal inside is broken. However, the repairman, Elmerson, is missing. You will also notice that there is a well just down the steps from the tower, and if you approach it, you will hear a voice asking for help. You won't hear it, but you can read it. This is indicative that Elmerson is probably down in the well looking for Lassie. So if you drop in yourself, you will splash down, and then there will be a rock wall here that you can break with just a rock hammer. You don't need to waste a bomb on it. These gray rocks, you could just use a hammer, no problem. Once you break that open, you can head inside, and then you will find Elmerson trapped in a cell next to a treasure chest. So he apparently thought that there was treasure down here and fell for a trap. He will then show you that he entered from the other side, and what you can do then is you can ascend through the ceiling and start heading for the other cave entrance to get him out of here. So once you ascend through the ground, I recommend doing this while facing the other entrance that Elmerson was pointing to. This way, when you come out through the ground, you can just run straight and get to the cave entrance. Luckily, the map designers of this game are excellent at their jobs, and there is a smokestack that is sort of beckoning you into this direction, so you really can't lose the spot where you need to go. In any event, you want to paraglide down, and then you will see the other cave entrance, and you can just run straight in to this well again. And then this is the Popla Foothills excavation site. There is some treasure in here, but our main purpose here is to free Elmerson. So all you got to do is step on the switch. He will run out, and then he will meet you back at the tower and repair the terminal for you, so you can then use it to get your next map fragment.
Oh.
Next, we have the Gerudo Canyon Skyview Tower, and this one is pretty interesting. For this one, you are going to find Saucin on this elevator. However, the counterbalance for this elevator is no longer in use. So what we need to do is we need to scale this little mountain here, or you can use a time block that is fallen nearby to get up the mountain near the tower, and then there is a Hudson building supply shed here, and we are going to build the counterbalance ourselves. So you want to take a plank of wood, and then you want to rotate it and attach it to the metal piece of this elevator and start building it yourself. Now, I will warn you, this one feels not glitched, but just a little weird. You basically want to stack as much as you can onto that plank of wood. However, if you do not stick things to it, they tend to disappear. I don't know what causes that, but as you're about to see, I'm going to accidentally fall while these two boxes were being attached, and so I go back up, and they're gone. I don't know where they went. They don't seem to have fallen anywhere. I didn't find them in the surrounding areas. They just disappeared. It's very, very unclear. Luckily, however, there are more boxes, and you can even use the time blocks that are falling from the sky. So again, just put as much as you can onto this thing, and eventually it'll go down pretty far, but then it will end up getting stuck. However, when that happens, you can climb the hill again and then pull Saucin up the rest of the way, and he should stay up. I didn't fully understand why that was. I don't really get why the elevator is getting stuck part of the way down and why you need to force it the rest of the way, but that's what I needed to do in order to get this to work. So as you're about to see here, I kind of ran out of supplies. Probably could have put more wood on it, but Saucin was so close that I just grabbed the centerpiece, lifted it up, and he stayed. And all you got to do is talk to him, and he'll fix the tower for you. One thing that I want to mention is that the temperatures here in Gerudo Desert are extreme during night and day. So during the day, you're going to want to make sure you have cooked a dish using chill shrooms and any protein, fish, or meat, and then that will give you a good duration of extreme heat resistance for the desert. At night, you want to equip your Rito armor to survive the cold, or cook something to keep you warm. Either way, you gotta withstand the elements while you're building this elevator. It can be very, very deadly. Finally, we have the Gerudo Highlands Skyview Tower, which is to the northwest of the Gerudo Canyon Skyview Tower. This tower is buried in snow, so we need to enter this cave to follow a river underneath the tower and then use Ascend to enter it. So this is Maidala's Mantle Cave. This cave does have a bubble frog in it, and I will show you how to get the bubble gem from that frog. No problem. Right near this riverbank, there are some Hudson building supplies. So you want to lift up a plank of wood and then put it into the river. Big wood, small wood, does not matter. It's all going to go to the same place. So once you have the wood in the water, you just want to ride the current, and then eventually it'll bring you to a little waterfall that you'll fall down, and then you'll be able to sort of repeat the process to get into the tower. One thing that I do want to mention is that I highly recommend that you have the Zora armor before coming here. You get the Zora armor from Zora's Domain. It's part of the main story quest. You really can't miss it. They just give it to you, basically. I do have all three parts of it, though. You can get the helm and the boots after you finish the story quest of Zora's Domain, and you do all that there is to do there for the main story. You will have a couple of optional quests open up to you in Zora's Domain once you get those done. Alright, so unfortunately the waterfall kicked me off, but it's okay. My boat landed right in front of me, but I'm just going to ignore it, because we got to get that bubble gem. So, go ahead and jump into the water. This is where you want to equip your Zora's tunic. This way the current doesn't sweep you away. If you have a ton of stamina, you should be okay swimming in this, but I really recommend just equipping the Zora armor. It's much easier. You can grab the bubble gem while you're in the water. That's not an issue. And then you're going to come over here. And then for me, a plank of wood ended up over here. So this was pretty nice for me. Not exactly sure where it came from, but it got there. In any event, you could just bring one over here if you like. Just throw it really far out into the water, and then eventually it'll get over here. But not really sure where it came from, but it came here for me. So I ultra-handed it away in an attempt to ride it and then ascend, but unfortunately the window is really small. Luckily, however, I was able to reverse it and then just ascend on the way back. And then once you ascend, you'll be inside the tower. Funny little thing, the tower is, as far as I can tell, permanently snowed in. So inside of this cave are some flowers that are growing and some berries. Kind of useful, but you're not going to be able to exit the tower from here, but you can always warp back in. But that's it. Those are all 15 Skyview towers in The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. These will take you a while to get. The world is plenty big, but once you have it all, make sure to visit the Hot Note Ancient Research Lab. This way, Robbie can give you the travel medallion upgrades for having 10 Skyview towers and, of course, 15 for the final one. And that's it. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, you can do so by becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video. You can also leave a super thanks by clicking the heart icon below this video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. The links for those are in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.